believe that truth doesn't have is less likely to change somebody's life when it's presented. That truth is less likely to reach into somebody's life and actually change their heart. It's far less likely than love. When they experience that love, it can crack through the hardest, most arrogant, most proud person, no matter how intellectual they are or how firm they are in their beliefs. If you present them the love of Christ and they experience that, I believe it has more power to impact and change a person's heart than simply presenting them the facts and the truth of the gospel. I believe that. Yet, on the other side, what happens when we do not present the truth? What happens when Christians grow up and they do not understand the truth of the gospel? I read about 10 years ago a particular denomination in the United States had a gathering of all of its Christian leaders from all over the world, and each leader of different country was speaking on different nights, things of that nature. And one particular man, he was a leader of a South American country, this particular denomination. He was the head of the denomination in that country, and he got on the stage and he begged them to not send any more missionaries to his country. Don't send any more missionaries to my country. I want you to send theologians and teachers to set up seminaries in my country, not missionaries. And he said the reason is the missionaries come and they create converts, but no one's teaching them. And then the liberal Marxist theologians come along and they grab them and they pull them into their belief. And now in our country we were overrun with this particular almost like a Christian cult, where they believe that it's okay for them to fight against the government and overthrow the government, that Jesus is going to set up a political empire in their country. And they bought into this. And it's very socialist and communist and Marxist in their beliefs. And he said, I don't want any more missionaries. I want teachers and I want theologians to come to my country because the people need to be taught. In the United States, in the 19th century, the early 19th century, revivals were spreading across the United States. I mean, maybe you've heard of the Great Awakening, the Second Great Awakening, and there's various other awesome movements that swept through the United Kingdom, across the Atlantic, into the United States, and impacted America on the whole country. The whole country was impacted. One particular event calls what's called the burned over county. It was in upstate New York. Thousands of people came to know Christ in this particular revival. Almost the entire county. Pubs were closed, bars were closed, brothels were closed, churches were erected. It was an amazing time. The problem was that they were not being taught. They weren't being instructed in Christianity. And out of that county, two of the major American cults came out of that county: Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnesses. Within one generation of that revival, these unstable and these untaught people were misled, and they started two of the major cults in the world now. I've heard Billy Graham, or I've read Billy Graham say that if he could do it again, he would go back and he would do things differently. Instead of holding these massive conferences where thousands and tens of thousands of people packed the stadiums, and then thousands of people were saved, instead of doing it that way, he would have done it on another way, so that there would have been more discipleship. Because what happened when Billy Graham moved across the continent of Africa, leading people to Christ, thousands of people came to Christ. But the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons followed right behind him. And all of those people, they just gathered them up and pulled them into their